my name is Stacy Pfeifer, and I am with the Enable Savings Program here in Nebraska. We're going to talk about a few different things. I'm going to speak about Enable in general and spend a little bit of extra time on the new things that we have coming. There are a few different things, and one of them is a pretty significant change, so I want to make sure we take the time to know all the ins and outs. But we're also going to talk about all the things that have to do with Enable, so the impact of benefits, what is a qualified disability expense, who's eligible, who owns the account, some of the features of the plan, the different investment options, how you enroll, and of course we've got those fun disclosures at the end. As far as benefits are concerned, so an Enable account is not going to replace Social Security or Medicaid, but it's another thing to add to your tool belt. And so eligible individuals are allowed to save more than that $2,000 without impacting their benefits. They're actually able to save up to $100,000 before it starts affecting benefits. HUD has been instructed to disregard Enable amounts in Enable accounts. And the one important thing to note with Enable is if you're using the money to pay for housing expenses, such as your rent, that you want to spend that money in the same month that you pull it out of your account. That gets a little tricky because a lot of times rent's due on the 1st or the 5th, kind of early in the month. But you want to make sure you're using that in the same month so that it does not move over to be considered income for your Social Security resources. Neither earnings nor withdrawals that are qualified from an account are considered income. So as long as you keep those as qualified withdrawals, and again, the earnings that you would earn on the investments would not be considered on your resources. Also, it's an included resource for Medicaid. So account owners, they are expected to report their assets, but it's just not included when they're looking at your resources. So what is a qualified disability expense? This is a big question a lot of people have. There are lots of things that you can spend your Enable savings on. Education, transportation, housing, employment and training supports, any kind of assistive technology, personal support services, financial, administrative services, legal fees, any end-of-life expenses, health prevention and wellness, and any other expense that enhances the account owner's quality of life. So as long as you can tie it to quality of life, then it would be considered a qualified expense. I know sometimes people get kind of questions as to whether things specifically apply or not, and I know they try to keep it kind of broad because they want to make it as broad as they can and include as many things as they can in that. We do recommend that you keep any receipts for anything that you're spending these funds on, so that if they do want to come back and look at what you spent the money on, then you have the proof of what you spent it on. Okay, so who's eligible? Anyone who had an onset of the disability prior to the age of 26. So it doesn't matter if you're 76 now, if you had the disability before you were 26, then you could open an Enable account. So it like I said, doesn't matter what age you are now, but it matters what age the disability began. And those can be certified a couple different ways. If you receive Social Security or disability benefits, then that would be an automatic way to know that you are eligible. Or if you can get a certification from a physician, then that works too. So you don't have to be receiving Social Security disability to be able to participate in this program. You could also get a certification from a physician. Right now, we have a bill that we're trying to get through on the federal level. We're hoping in the next few weeks before the end of the year here that it's going to go through. We're watching it very closely, and it would raise that age from 26 to 46. So that could really be a great help for a lot of people. Veterans is a large group that we're hoping that this can kind of help out more. So if you are in communication with any of the lawmakers on the federal level, we do encourage you to communicate your support for that age increase. We're really hoping that goes through, and we'll kind of keep everyone updated as we find out. And anybody who is eligible, they can just self-certify. We do have a list on our website of disabilities. So if you have a question, you can go to our website, and there's a link that will have a whole list of different disabilities that would apply. Account ownership. So the person who is eligible for the Enable Savings Plan would be the person who would be the account owner. So they're not always the person who's in charge of the account. Sometimes you have a different person that will help them to open the account and help to maintain the account for them. They would not have a beneficial interest in the account, however, because they would not be the account owner. The eligible individual is. And the account owner can only have one ABLE account nationwide. So ABLE is a national program. It falls under the IRS regulations, but each state has their own individual program, and each state's a little bit different in how they administer the program. And sometimes some of the rules are slightly different. Like in Nebraska, there's a tax incentive. Not every state has that. And we have a savings account. Not every state has a savings account. So every state's just a little different in how they administer it. Let's say someone moved out of Nebraska and moved to a different state, and they wanted to move their plan to that state's plan. They can certainly do that. They can roll it over. They could also keep it with Nebraska if they wanted, because Nebraska is open to any state. Those are kind of some of the rules around owning the account. Okay, so this is a new piece that we've got here. So in the past, if an account owner was not able to open the account on their own, then they would have to have a power of attorney or a legal guardian who had guardianship over their finances to be able to open it for them. So this is now different. We actually have a whole list of individuals who would be able to open it. So you can see it's still got the power of attorney and the conservator or legal guardian, but it also has spouse, parent, sibling, grandparent, and representative payee. And now there is also a specific order for who can open the account. So let's say a grandparent wanted to open the account for their grandchild. Everyone above the grandparent on this list would have to waive their right to open the account on that account owner's behalf. If the grandparent wanted to, but the spouse wanted to, then the spouse gets priority. But this does make it a lot easier for people to help their spouse or sibling or child to be able to open an account, and they don't have to go through quite as many legal hoops to get a power of attorney or things like that. This is self-certifying as well, so less paperwork than it used to be. Also, we don't need all the guardianship paperwork like we used to. You have to certify under penalty of perjury that you have the authority. This is one of the big changes. Because of some of these changes that we've made, starting in January, you will be able to just fill out the application online. We're still kind of doing some of the background work, so we're not quite to that point yet. You can print the form off our website and fill it out at this point, but starting January 26th is our live date to get those updates on the website done, and then you'll be able to just fill it out online, which will make it a little easier, a little faster. All right, so passing of an account owner. When an account owner passes away, there are a few different options. The money can go to an estate. If the account owner has an estate with other assets in it, it could be transferred to another ABLE account, or it could be rolled over into another qualified ABLE program. Now, to be able to roll over, it would need to be rolled over to a sibling or some sort of family member. And siblings are, if the children are adopted, those would count as siblings under our rules of family. So I know that Medicaid clawback can be a concern for some people. So back in 2020, the state of Nebraska passed a law where we would not be seeking any Medicaid clawback from Nebraska Medicaid. That is a good thing for people who own these accounts. We also, on the state level, have some legislation that we're working on right now to where if the ABLE account just had a smaller balance, $5,000 is the amount that we're including in the legislation, that if it fell under that $5,000, that it would not need to go into an estate, that it could go to a named beneficiary. And you would put that when you fill out the form, your enrollment form, you could name that beneficiary. We'll keep you up to date on that as well. So that's another law that we're working through because we understand that sometimes creating an estate doesn't make financial sense, maybe if the owner doesn't have any other assets. So that's another way we're working to improve these accounts. Flexibility. So as I stated earlier, people living in any state can open an ABLE account. Anyone can contribute to an account. So any of the account owners who own an ABLE account can log on. They can have a web account and they can log on to that account, and they will have what's called a UGIFT code. I'm going to send some information to Lisa when we finish this presentation, and one of those things is going to be a little flyer that can help explain where you can find that UGIFT code. You could also call customer service and they'd be able to help you with that if you're not maybe good at navigating the internet. And so once you have that UGIFT code, you can hand that out to family, friends, Anyone, maybe you're doing a fundraiser, you could share it on Facebook, and anyone could go to the UGift website and take that code and put it in, and that will put the money into the account owner's account. So that's super easy, a great way for people to contribute. And it's also flexible because it can be used on a wide range of expenses. And money can be moved around pretty easily and can be withdrawn at any time. Now, if it's not used for qualified disability expenses, then there could be taxes and penalties on those expenses, but it does still offer flexibility in that way. Our fees, we try to keep our fees as low as possible. Right now it's $45 a year for the service charge, which works out to $11.25 per quarter. And then we have asset-based fees, so that can vary depending on which option you choose, whether it's a savings account, one of the 3 investment options, or the checking account. There's no enrollment fee, there's no fees to change how you invest the money, no transfer fees, no distribution fees, none of those things. Again, opening the account is easy and contributing is easy. To open it, you would need a minimum of $50, or if you sign up to have automatic payments go in every month, then that could be $25, so you could start a little bit lower. And then after that, any subsequent contributions would need to be $25. But again, if you have the automated payments coming in or a payroll deduction from an employer, then it could be a lower amount. Again, as we spoke about, anybody can contribute, and there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can mail in a check if you want, you can do wire transfers, you can pay online, you can do an electronic funds transfer. You could also do a payroll deduction. You can speak with your employer about that. And if the account owner is working, they can speak with their employer. This year, the annual contribution limit is $16,000, which means that's the most money that you can put into an Enable account in 1 year. In 2023, that's going to increase. So that's going to be going up to $17,000, which is good news for next year. Additionally, if the account owner is employed and the employer is not putting money into any kind of retirement fund for that employee, then they can contribute to the Enable account for the employee. Then you can go over that $16,000 or $17,000 limit. That's good for people who are working. And you can refer to our program disclosure statement to get what that limit is. Okay, we're on to tax benefits. So as long as you're using it for qualified disability expenses, as we discussed earlier, then any earnings that you would receive in these accounts are tax-free. And it's tax deferred while it's in your account. In addition to that, anyone who contributes to an Enable account in the state of Nebraska and who files Nebraska state income taxes, they can receive a tax deduction up to $10,000, $5,000 if you're married filing separately. So again, when we're talking about that UGift and encouraging people to give, that tax incentive is another nice incentive for people to give. There's a few different investment options. So we have the 3 target risk options. Now, these are not FDIC insured. These, you can earn money on these, but you can also lose money. So these would be our different investment options. There's a conservative, a moderate, and a growth option. We do suggest that you speak with whoever helps you with your finances to make decisions on which option you would choose. This obviously is more of kind of a long-term option. People are trying to save money for a long-term goal. We also have 2 FDIC insured options. So we've got a savings account and a checking account. These would not lose value. Besides, you do have the fees that come out, but it's not like the investments where it could lose value in that way. These are good options for more of a short-term solution. The checking option does have some checks you can get, and it has a debit card as well. Now, I know there have been people in the past that have had issues with the checking account option if they're a guardian and their paperwork says that guardians in Nebraska can't use cash. So they can still use the debit card. We have a manual process where we turn off the ATM option and you can just use the debit card at like point of sale places. So you can contact customer service and ask for that option. Also, we've had issues with co-guardians where they haven't been able to use the account because they're co-guardians and it requires 2 co-signers. We have some forms that we've recently released. I'm working on getting those put up on the website, but you can call customer service and ask for those. And those would allow co-guardians to work independently of each other. So a couple options to kind of help utilize that checking account a little bit easier if that's a goal that you have. Okay, so when you're selecting the investments that we just discussed, you can spread the payments that go into any of the options that you'd like. So you could put half into the moderate option and half into the checking account option. Or you could put a third into 3 different ones. As long as the total equals 100%, you can divide it up however you'd like. And any contributions that come into your account are going to be divided the way that you chose. So if grandma puts it in and she wants it all to go into a checking account, but you have it selected to all go to savings account, then that's where it's going to go. It's up to the account owner. They can be changed at any time. So maybe you open the account and you're not quite sure what you want to do. So you just put it all into savings. And then maybe like 6 months later, you change your mind and decide you want to do it a little bit differently. You can contact our customer service or look at our website and you can change those options. And you can do that up to twice per calendar year. If you want to enroll, we always recommend that you read the program disclosure statement first, just so you don't have any surprises and you can know really well exactly how the program works. And then again, starting in January, the end of January, you'll be able to go online and fill out the form. Otherwise, right now, you can fill out a paper form. And then it's just basically, going through the steps, filling in the information, picking your investment options, funding the account, all that good stuff. So I've referred to our website several times. EnableSavings.com is our website, and we've got lots of things on there. Forms, quarterly newsletters get put up there. I have kind of some flyers with different information that I do my best to keep updated. We also have a Facebook page, and then there's our customer service number. And I will send this presentation to Lisa as well, so she can forward that on to anybody who wants it to get this information off of it. And then I also have kind of a handout of that hierarchy with that list on it. So if anybody needs that, they can get that from her as well, since that's kind of a new thing. Again, my name is Stacy Pfeifer. I'm the director. I work for the treasurer. This program is under the state treasurer's office. They're the trustee and the program manager, and the Nebraska Investment Council is our oversight. And of course, we always want to say, I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on TV. And we always recommend that you speak with your attorney or any financial advisor or people that are much smarter than I am if you have questions about those types of things, and they can help you, work through any questions you might have on that. And again, we don't guarantee on any of those investments that people are going to make money, and sometimes they do lose money. So we always want to make sure that people are really aware of that. All right, I think that is everything that I have. Thank you so much, you guys. And like I said, I'll send out an email with those flyers on it and with this PowerPoint presentation also, so you can have that. And if you have any other questions, you can contact Lisa.